Mary Ann. Now call the meeting of the Parker County Board of Commissioners to order. Please rise for a moment of silence, prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
O Lord, giver of life and source of all that we have, we thank you for the many gifts you have given us, and we invite your presence in our lives at all times. Help us to use your gifts wisely. Teach us to share them generously. Encourage us to faithfully answer your call to serve one another, and gift us with your grace to know that by answering your call, we will be truly free. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held March 14th, 2019, noting a change to number 19-142, Mount Chunk Museum and Cultural Center, not the Jim Thorpe Tourism Agency.
so moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Are there any guests concerning county business at this time? Ms. Lukasevich?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Edie Lukasevich. I am a member of Jim Thorpe Borough Council, but I am not here on behalf of Borough Council. I'm here on behalf of the people of Jim Thorpe who are very concerned about the building that you're going ahead with on Susquehanna Street. What I want to know, what the people of Jim Thorpe would like to know, what plans do you have in place for if there's any damage done to St. Mark's Church, to the, used to be a men's clothing store there in Susquehanna Street, which I understand is going to become a Japanese restaurant. Across the street is the Hooven Building, and then of course we have our navigation building, the high rise. These people are concerned about damage that's going to be caused. What plans do you commissioners have in place if there is damage done? Because they feel the four buildings that I mentioned are old buildings. And there's a lot that they will not be able to stand with any kind of even minor blasting. What plans are in effect? What can you offer these people? What can you commit to them that they will not have $1 million worth of damage on any of these buildings?
As we have said repeatedly, we are taking all the necessary steps that we feel are necessary to protect any damage from happening via the pre-inspections, vibration monitoring, etc., and also through the insurance should there be any damage. So we are doing everything we can possibly do to ensure that no other structures are damaged.
Another question, they wondered why, since there were other buildings here in Jim Thorpe that the county could have purchased to put the office buildings in, why did you not look into those buildings, like, for example, the YMCA? And then, of course, they're talking about the school is going to be available in Upper Jim Thorpe, the Mauch Chunk Junior Senior High School. Is there any reason why the commissioners did not look into the possibility of those buildings?
As we have said before at public meetings, we have looked into other buildings, and the issue becomes the appraised value of the properties, like the YMCA, for example. It was appraised at $500,000 by the county to purchase that building. The owner wanted $825,000. By county code, we cannot go above the assessed value and the appraised value of the properties. We have looked at other properties, including renting properties that were big enough at that time to and suitable possibly. The rents that were required were higher than the average, which we had a study done at that time. And the fact that we had to invest well over $100,000 into a building that we did not own to convert it to offices. And those are the issues we ran into in trying to move county offices into other buildings in the county. In Jim Thorpe.
Are there any plans in effect, if there is damage, suppose with the navigation building, with all those people that live in there, are there any plans in place what you would do if damage was done to that building and those people would have to leave that building. Are there any plans in place? Have any of you thought about making any plans just in case something would happen there? The people are very, very concerned and very upset.
And they, and rightfully so, they are concerned. Again, we feel we are taking all the precautions.
So in
And
other
we
words,
don't think, no,
there are
do
no
not have
plans
a
in-
plan, if that's what you're
so,
looking for.
but
we
there
do
are
not
no
have a
plans in
plan.
place, right? There's no plans in place.
You're talking about
Like suppose there's
relocation.
damage and you have to move the people out of the high rise, where would they go?
We don't have that plan.
Well, then maybe I think it's time that maybe
Okay.
everyone should sit down and consider what you would do if something like that happened. Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir, your name and where you're from, sir?
My name's Mark Reitz. I live in Jim Thorpe. My brother and I owned and operated the Hotel Switzerland, 5 Hazard Square, from '83 until '99. We sold it to the Beans. It employs a lot of people. It pays a lot of taxes. My father worked in his courthouse. His job wasn't political. He was a graduate of Penn State University. He was a graduate of Colorado State University. And also Bob McCombs, who had the same degree. They put this book together. And the book together that came out of the county is the Soil Survey. It was put together by the United States Department of Agriculture, Soil Conservation, Penn State University, and Soil Conservation. The reason for this book was to tell you how and where to build, and if you're a farmer, what your land is. It will tell you in this book that the biggest thing that changed this area was the glacier that happened 10,000 years ago, and everything is documented in here. You know, as far as the soils, you know, if you would have a sinkhole under soil, if you wanted to find an artesian well on your property, how you would do it. Okay, now let's go over to the church. The church is built into rock. It is part of the rock. And the church is some of the best architecture on the planet. It's actually Ace Packer's legacy. The artwork in there is unbelievable. Whether you're religious or you're not religious, there's energy in that building. Now, we go over to the job site. Okay, we know that on the mansion house, that there was a 60-ton rock laying there. I guess that was last week. That was just one rock that popped out. That was a 60-ton rock. That would do a lot of damage. Then we go over to Highlands Beverage or Queens Beverage. We know that it floods out there. So we know that the impermeable layer where the water percolates down through is hitting and squirting out. We know it caved in behind the YMCA. We know going up to High Street that we had $1 million fix. That was from Stone Row over. We know behind the Pry residence that it caved in back there. It was nothing but rock behind his backyard. Then we know that when we go over to the other section of High Street, that we had another barrel. Jim Thorpe paid $800,000 because the mountain's pushing. Now, let's go back to the job site. Okay, at the job site, you're gonna remove that building hydraulically. Okay, boom, 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 it's gone, hydraulics. You know, hydraulics moves the planet. Then the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna try to figure out what the soils are. Okay, if we can figure out the bulk density of the soil, and we can figure out the pore space porosity of soil, now mathematically we can tell you how fast the water's percolating. Okay, now we start hydraulically drilling to check the core samples out. The question is, how big is the rock that the church is sitting on? You know, now we're gonna shoot from the air to take pictures of the air to figure out how big this rock is. We're gonna run more core samples. And as we all know, that for every action, there's a reaction. If I hit that rock, we break the Tiffany windows. You know, and you know, when you think about geological science is a science. You know, all the elements on the planet are listed because we all know the periodic table. But we still don't know how big that rock is. So you could be 5% wrong, because geological science is a science, but it is not a complete science, because you could be wrong, because we could drill for oil here, and then over there won't be any. And you undervalue the value of that church. It's the jewel of the town, and you're not carrying enough insurance. And the only thing that I can say is sometimes people could be wrong. And the other thing is that it's you know, I don't know if you've ever been on a job where something went wrong. One of the last jobs I was on in the Gulf of Mexico, I was out to do a survey of the ground area, working in 6 atmospheres. I was doing the, inspecting the welds. Well, the geologists, they were wrong. The whole top of the platform blew out and everybody was dead. I was just lucky because I was doing the inspection work in the water.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Sir, short.
Yes, Mike Shorten from Jim Thorpe. I just have a question with relations to the archive building over on 4th Street on the other side, the one that the county purchased recently. Do you know how much money was spent renovating that? Roughly, I mean, not to the dollar, but ballpark?
I'm not positive in the amount, so.
Was it over $500,000?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, but less than $1 million, I believe.
Yeah, about 6 or 8.
Mhm.
So, for the sake of discussion, let's just say $750,000, some
Right.
medium ground in there. You purchased it for $95,000, somewhere around there?
Something like that.
Okay. I don't understand the thought behind, you can't purchase a building for more than its value, but then you can purchase one in its value at $95,000 and dump $750,000 into that building. You're never gonna recoup that. You're spending $850,000 for a building, essentially, that's worth maybe after renovations, $200,000. So I just don't understand how the thinking goes where you can't overpay for a building, but once you buy a building at a reasonable cost, you can overspend on renovating it.
What you have to consider also is the cost of building a new building at that square footage, et cetera.
I don't think that answers my question, but,
Well,
you know,
all right,
What is your question, Mike?
yeah.
how do you justify spending $850,000 on a records building over there that, at best, if you put that up for sale right now, you'd be lucky to get $200,000 for it? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you won't spend $10,000 more than a property's assessed at because of laws or whatever on the books, you can't do that. But you can turn around and spend exorbitant amounts of money renovating it, and you're still, if you spent $750,000 for the building, what would have been the difference?
So let me just ask this, Mike, if you don't mind, with all due respect.
Sure.
Your interest in our project and the church notwithstanding, don't you think the question that should have came to this board about that project over there should have been asked 2 years ago?
Probably should have been, yeah,
Okay.
but I wasn't aware of
So-
it at that time,
So, I mean, we could question things in the last 20 years here and say, it wasn't on the forefront. So, your question about the archive building, whether it has merit or doesn't have merit, is really a stretch with regard to the project that we're talking about here. And obviously, your interest is in.
I'm not referring to the project at the church, I'm
Yeah, well,
referring to
obviously,
just
you're interested
the
in
thought
it, and
process.
this discussion, obviously stems from the controversy surrounding this project. But then and some of the questions that you're asking relate to information you received in discussions about this project, about what the chairman said about, being able to pay a certain dollar amount for the building. We're held by the county code that says you can't purchase any property for any price, in excess of the fair market value. And that's just the way it is.
I understand that.
Okay, so
fully,
we
Bill.
bought it, and, it's like anything else. We spent maybe $3 million renovating the 3rd floor of the courthouse for a 3rd judge some 10, 15 years ago. And do we sit here and say, we're never gonna get $3 million back from it? No, because as stewards of the county's finances and people responsible, or charged with the responsibility to make those decisions, we make them as we think is best. Now, it's philosophical whether you or anyone else agrees that we may have spent too much money over there. However, we needed space, we bought what we thought was best, we never violated the law, we lived by the county code, and we renovated it. But to tie that into this project, Mike, I think it is a little far-fetched.
Bill, I think you misunderstand my point. Yes, I'm here because of my interest in the project. You say that, why didn't I say anything about this 2 years ago? Well, we have elected officials, the 3 of you sitting back there. You are responsible to manage our money in a reasonable way. I don't see how spending $850,000 on a building that's now only worth $200,000, just because of that one little county thing, oh, you can't pay more than assessed value. Then you shouldn't be able to spend more than, the assessed value to it, within a certain amount of, reason to where, okay, you need more space or something like that. But for $850,000, you could have bought any one of 100 vacant lots in this county and built the building for less than that.
I don't think that's true.
No, that's the issue I tried to point out. It would cost us more and take a lot longer because you have to go through a lot more planning issues and other issues, so, no, I disagree with that. And it's hard to say, without going to an architect and getting that exact figure.
I understand.
Okay.
I have a question for Ms. Lukasevich.
Yeah.
You came here today as a resident, I understand that, and not as a borough councilman or woman.
I'm not here as,
I
I'm not here
understand that.
representing
You're
Borough
here-
Council.
You're here as a resident, and I understand that, and I respect that. But you voted for conditional approval on this building, did you not?
Yes, I
Okay, and
did,
then
and
right
it was
after
the
you-
biggest, mistake I made.
Okay, well-
Because I did not know the whole story, because I thought that a trial run that you people were going to do wouldn't cause any kind of damage. But after I spent the next month, because I was sold a bill of goods at that meeting, and that's why I supported it. That's why Jay Miller supported it. I never would have supported that for an approval had I known the danger and the things that could happen there. And I will crawl on my hands and knees to do everything I can for the people, not only in Jim Thorpe, but all over this county. People are upset by what you people are doing down in Susquehanna Street. I don't care how much it would cost you somewhere else, it would be worth it. You're going to destroy some beautiful old buildings. They'll start with small cracks and they'll become bigger cracks. Yes, I did give a vote of approval because I believed what I was being told at that meeting. But within 24 hours, I regretted every word of it. And I'm sure that other people did too. But I'm not here to speak for Borough Council. I'm here for Edie Lukasevich, who happens to be a member of Borough Council, and I owe it to the people of this community for voting for me because they believe in me and they know that I'll do what's right for them.
Well, maybe you should have put a little more thought.
Well, you know what, maybe you should spend a little bit more time because you know from nothing.
How about the gavel? How about the gavel?
You're a waste.
That's it. Okay.
You're a waste.
Any other guests concerning county business?
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, Chris Lukasevich. When is demolition gonna start of the maintenance
We
building?
don't have that date yet because of the legal issues we're at right now.
Okay, when do we expect the new building, the maintenance building, to be finished?
As soon as they get in there and concrete the floor, they want three consecutive days above 50 degrees, so we're
Okay,
waiting on that.
okay. How many bathrooms are gonna be in there?
None. It's a
Excuse me?
storage building. It's
So
a
it's sor-
storage building.
Oh, okay, so no
Not for
bathrooms?
storage,
No bathrooms, okay. How much to date has it cost, is it costing the county taxpayers for the water problem up at the prison?
I would be guessing, I know just for the one bill we received is $16,000 some just to truck the water in.
Okay, so over, plus all the repairs that are taking
Probably.
place and,
Well, that's not including the
Right.
repairs that have to be done to the
Yeah.
existing problems.
Yeah.
I want to point that out. There are existing problems in that pump house, which
Yeah.
the prison board, are addressing.
right, right.
Okay, so it's about 20,000,
Okay.
I'd say. I'm not
All
positive.
right, so is Bruce George Paving paying for that through their insurance, their bond liability?
We're
We're
discussing that issue legally.
Okay, so Commissioner Notstein, when you learned a few weeks ago that Commissioner Gerhart was potentially committing an ethics violation by collecting signatures for his petitions on county taxpayer time in a county taxpayer building, did you start an investigation?
No, I did not.
And may I ask why you did not? I mean, is it because he was collecting signatures for you also? From county employees
No.
in a county, well, he was.
Nothing to do with it.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Because he was. All right. Right. Solicitor, because you told me if an ethics concern, you would investigate it. Yet 3 weeks has transpired.
No, Mr. Lukasevich, if you go back and look, you indicated you We indicated you have the right to file an ethics
Yeah.
complaint, and you indicated you were gonna do that.
Well, would it not be
So that
proactive,
is-
would it not be proactive in nature when a concern of a citizen is raised to take action, to look into it, to mitigate whatever liability might come from that risk?
And no one said it wasn't looked into.
Well, basically, not saying anything is saying it wasn't
Well,
looked
I
into.
disagree.
Okay, so has it been looked into? I
Well-
thought you said no, it has not.
I did not.
So what is the answer?
If there's an investigation, it's not this policy of the county or any other public board to discuss ongoing investigations.
So there is an ongoing investigation, so you can't discuss it.
We're not saying there is or there isn't.
Why not? I mean, these two individuals up here are committed to transparency.
And it is, but if it's like any other situation, if we have a personnel issue or anything else, if there's an investigation, it's not gonna be discussed.
But there is no investigation. So, I'm sorry, Commissioner Gerhardt, are you for or against the Penny's pipeline? Are you for or against the Penny's pipeline?
This is a comment session, not a question and answer.
Okay, Commissioner Gerhardt, are you for or against wind turbines in Packer Township? Again, transparency. Would you like me to pull out the letter where you commit that you've aimed for transparency?
You had brought this subject up before.
Yes.
So we're now talking about redundancy on questions or issues regarding the county.
That is county business.
It is county business.
Thank you.
But in our county policy, if you continue to bring up the, trying to find it here.
I've been listening to things about St. Mark's Church now for about 2 months. I haven't heard this brought up about that
Could be
concern.
ruled out of order for scandalous, impertinent, or redundant comments. So this is, being a little redundant on, your questioning is, the same thing week after week.
Well,
if you're
until-
questioning this.
Well, again, I think a question, in all transparency, the commissioners should tell us their positions on issues. And we have commissioners who refuse to be transparent, although they indicate they've aimed for transparency. But it seems like that aim isn't very good, because you're missing the mark on transparency, and everyone recognizes that. Thank you.
Any other guests concerning county business? Hearing none, we move on.
Report of executive session held and
There were none.
department reports, budget transfers 2018 and 2019.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Yes.
Supplemental appropriations.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Approval of payroll check numbers 70898 through 70937, and direct deposit check numbers 6006950 through 6007350 for the payroll paid through the payroll fund checking account for all county funds totaling $543,640.55. This is the payroll dated March 15th, 2019.
Motion to ratify.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 204621 through 204731 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $247,691.74.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes, with the exception of the bill for Blue Ridge Communications, to which I abstain because I'm a part-time employee of the Times News, which is a sister company of Blue Ridge Communication.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Approval of check numbers 204732 through 204836 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $805,091.33.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes, with the exception of the bills for the Times News, Blue Ridge Communications, and Penn Teledata, to which I abstain because I'm a part-time employee of the Times News, which is a sister company of Blue Ridge Communication and Penn Teledata. And I would like to present the Keeper of Records a memorandum indicating my potential conflict of interest with Pencor-related companies, which is advised by the State Ethics Commission.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The treasurer's report?
Move to approve.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Personnel report?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Adult probation. For approval, award of funding in the amount of $10,500 for fiscal year 2018-2019 discretionary grant to the Administrative Office of Pennsylvania Courts to support both the Carbon County Veterans Treatment Court and Drug Treatment Court. The application was approved January 24, 2019.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Advertising. Bids, boiler replacement, authorize the advertisement of the invitation to bid for the boiler replacement at the railroad station building.
So moved. Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain since I am a part-time employee of the Times News where the ad will appear.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Area Agency on Aging, authorize the ratification, authorization to advertise a legal notice regarding Area Agency on Aging job opening for the Protective Service Aging Care Manager 3 in the Times News and Standard Speaker.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain since I am a part-time employee of the Times News where the ad will appear.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Meeting changes to ratification. Authorization to advertise the cancellation of the March 21st, 2019 meetings of the Carbon County Board of Commissioners and Carbon County Retirement Board, and rescheduling of Retirement Board meeting for March 28th, 2019.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain since I am a part-time employee of the Times News where the advertisement appeared.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Communications, 911. For approval and execution, Penteledata customer certification of interstate circuits needed in reference to EZNet connection. The EZNet maintenance was an approved statewide interconnectivity project for 2019.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain since I am a part-time employee of the Times News, which is a sister company of Penn Teledata.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
For approval and execution, a request from the 911 Director to purchase GIS equipment from Trimble Incorporated under state contract necessary to both create and maintain GIS data layers needed for the next-gen 911 implementation in accordance with NENA data accuracy standards. This is approved through the statewide interconnectivity fund for Carbon County NG 911 project. There is no cost to the county.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Correctional facility, for approval and execution, a proposal submitted by Shaver Yesco Distribution Incorporated of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to add security cameras and replace and upgrade existing cameras at the Carbon County Correctional Facility. This is a Pennsylvania Coast Guard contract, prevailing wages, and P-Corps loss prevention funds in the amount of $37,843 will be used. The total cost is $175,644.16.
So moved. Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
For approval and execution, proposal submitted by Train of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, to replace the motor and lower wheel support bracket on rooftop unit number 4 at the Carbon County Correctional Facility. Total cost will be $3,268.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Courts for approval and execution. Contract was submitted with Melissa Bartman of Allentown, Pennsylvania, establishing per diem court reporting service rates for stenographic services for the Court of Common Pleas as listed. The agreement may be terminated by either party, giving 30-day written notice.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
District Attorney for ratification, the award letter for the RAZA grant in the amount of $91,526 from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for the 2019-2020 Victim Witness Program.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Election forms and ballots. For approval, recommendation from the purchasing department to accept the quote totaling $15,000 submitted by Jack Armstrong of Reliance Graphics, Westchester, Pennsylvania, for the printing of the 2019 municipal primary forms and ballots. It is noted that this is the only quote that was received.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Emergency Management, for approval and execution, an amendment to the 2018-2019 Hazardous Materials Response Fund Grant Agreement. The amendment changes item number 4 to reflect 2 gas meter repairs, replacing the original request for 2 mobile radios for the mobile command vehicle.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Fiscal data, for approval and execution, an agreement with Sirius Computer Solutions Incorporated for software maintenance, hardware maintenance, covering the IBM AS400 computer system, including financial and human resources records. The term of the agreement is February 1, 2019 to January 31st, 2020, at a cost of $17,206.10.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
For approval and execution, the statement of work. Authorization agreement with Sirius Computer Solutions Incorporated for 1 additional year, February 2019 to February 2020, to be used for support and/or system software administration purposes. This is billable only if services are required.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Juvenile Court, for approval and execution, updated letter of agreement with Behavioral Health Associates of Weehawken, Pennsylvania, to allow for appropriate levels of collaboration between agencies.
Move for the agreement.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Loss Prevention Grant for approval and execution, the application for the balance of the 2018-2019 Pennsylvania County's Risk Pool Loss Prevention Grant in the amount of $17,843 to be used towards the purchase of a new camera system for the Carbon County Correctional Facility.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
A service agreement for approval and execution, an annual service agreement with Johnson Controls Fire Protection, formerly Simplex Grinnell, covering the fire alarm system at the Carbon County Courthouse, effective 4/1/2019 to March 31st, 2020, at a total cost of $1,095. This represents no increase.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Union agreement for approval and execution, the collective bargaining agreement between the County of Carbon and Teamsters Local number 773 for the period of January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2021. In each year, the contract provides a 3% wage increase, 5% increase in employee health insurance premium co-pays per pay, and a decrease in prescription co-pay costs.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Solicitors report?
Thank you. American Cancer Society for adoption of resolution acknowledging Lynn Deal and the Franklin Township Volunteer Fire Company for the Cancer Fighter Award, recipients by the American Cancer Society.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Communications 911 for approval and execution. Communications site lease agreement with the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission, which will allow the 911 center to install communications equipment onto the Turnpike's new tower at Big Boulder and install a new shelter at the site.
Move for the agreement.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Coroner for adoption, resolution establishing revised fees for the coroner's office.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Hotel room rental excise tax for adoption and execution, County Ordinance 2019-02. amending and restating 2006-02 adopted 122806, and imposing the Carbon County hotel room rental excise tax.
Motion to adopt.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Parks and Recreation for approval and execution, the banner request submitted for the Jim Thorpe Independent Film Festival for the third annual Jim Thorpe Independent Film Festival, April 25th to the 28th, 2019. The banner request April 11th to April 29th, 2019.
Move for the banner request.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
For adoption, a proclamation designating the month of April 2019 as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Week.
Motion to adopt the proclamation.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Purchasing for approval and execution, recommendation from purchasing to accept the request of Linda S. Tapira to terminate her agreement with the county dated November 8, 2018.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Vending services for approval and execution, amendment number 1 to agreement dated March 24, 2016 with Compass Group Incorporated Canteen Vending Services Division to provide vending services for various county locations. The amendment effective March 31, 2019 extends the term through March 31, 2022. All other terms of the agreement are in full force and effect.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Special Olympics for adoption, resolution honoring Matthew Richard Anthony of Palmerton and representing Carbon County in the Special Olympics North American Games held in Las Vegas, Nevada, March 7, 2019.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
For adoption, resolution honoring Delina Joe Rodriguez of Palmerton and representing Carbon County in the United States of America in the Special Olympics World Games held in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi, March 2019.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes, and those two resolutions, we're hoping to have those two Special Olympics participants and maybe some others attend a commissioners meeting at their convenience, so we will be doing something publicly to recognize them and present them with the resolutions.
Nothing further.
Any further business? Commissioners reports, Mr. O'Gore?
I have nothing.
Mr. Gerhart?
I have nothing.
Mr. Notstein?
Yeah, very briefly today, I know what happens a lot of times and one of the issues behind the scenes that most people don't realize when it comes to legislation, when issues come up, the proposed legislation, and I'll give you for the 911 fee bill, which is Act 12, for the fees on the cell phones, wire lines, internet lines, etc. There were two proposed amendments. This bill runs out at the end of June, meaning that if it does not get passed at that time, the counties would be responsible for paying all the bills for the 911, as you saw in here today, the Esri upgrades and the Timbal unit for GIS. That would come out at the expense of the counties. There were two amendments that were brought up to give the House or the Senate the ability to take any excess funds out of that bill. If it's not paid or a balance there, they can take it out to balance their general fund. And the reason I bring that up, the sheriff's fee bill, this happened there, the last time that fee bill was increased was in 2000. Now, I did get an email this morning that because of people calling up and complaining about it, they did remove the amendments. But in the sheriff's fee bill, we have not been able to keep pace with the reimbursement to the sheriffs that attend the training. It's a 19-week course. We currently have one person there that will graduate in May. We have at least two scheduled to go to July, I believe. And for each individual, the county cost alone is at least $15,000 in reimbursements and everything, plus the cost of the education, the 19 weeks they're spending at State College. And there's some other things in there. But what happened, I forget what year, that might have been around 2004, they took $2 million out of that fund to balance the budget. And again, in 2012, was it, Tony, or 14, they took another $5 million out of that fund. But with the increased security of the county levels, the increased caseloads, the increased transports and everything that our sheriff's department has, and that has really taken a hit on, or creating a lot of more positions to train. What the training board, effective next year, they're required by law to reimburse the counties, but starting next year, we have to cut it from 3 classes to 2 classes. There's 30 people in a class. What if Philadelphia hires 30 people, which is, you know, very possible. It would really put the kibosh to any of the other smaller counties getting into training programs. So this funding hurts the training and the requirements that they be certified within a certain period of time of hiring and sent to these classes. We've had to do away with a lot of train-the-trainer programs for like weapons training, so that these people can get trained and come back here and save us time and money and being able to do the training locally. The board has been trying to do more online training, but it's things of this nature that the county commissioners and the Commissioners Association are, as well as the sheriffs in this case, are always trying to watch the legislation for last minute changes, that we are doing constant battles, and the public does not see the calls that we put out, or a lot of the emails that we may be sending, the meetings that we attend, and trying to, fight a lot of these, lobbying a lot of times, going to Harrisburg and telling them why we need a fee bill and what it really pays for, because a lot of times, in my experience, the elected officials in Harrisburg certainly don't understand what we do here and the costs here at a local level. And, and every time they, maybe they don't want us to do a lot of things, but they'll tell us to put a fee on the blight bill for one thing. Yeah, it's nice for us to do it, but you don't want to put the fees on to make yourself look good, but it all bounces back to the county. So I just wanted to point that out, that that's just one of the small areas that we're constantly being bombarded with all the time on how people in Harrisburg and the federal government on funded mandates telling us we have to do this, and it's mandated they reimburse the counties, and right now we're at about 40, should be almost $50,000 until this person gets trained, and at $15,000 for each of the new ones going, that's another $30,000. So that'll be about roughly another $75,000, $80,000 that the county is out until we get these bills passed, so we can start getting those funds in to be reimbursed, and that our sheriffs and their deputies are properly trained. So that's all I have. Meeting adjourned. Yeah.
Retirement board. Okay. I'm sorry. Someone from the same. The taxpayer.
Yeah. Well, they go hand in hand. They meet.
Okay, we can have the meeting. Okay.
Now call the monthly meeting of the retirement board to order. This time I'll turn the meeting over to our secretary, Robert Ramsey.